Hi, I'm Julia Kercher, and I work for UNDP, the United Nations Development Program. There's actually a very concrete link between the two goals, even though they seem perhaps quite distant or different. And there's been work on that. For example, the Special Rapporteur on Extreme Poverty and Human Rights did several reports on this issue, which is poverty being criminalized, basically, which means if you are already poor, and not just income poor, but in terms of health and education, you are actually more likely to face issues that are described in Goal 16. So if you're already poor, you usually have less access to justice, you're often discriminated against in the general population or by law enforcement or public institutions, and you might actually experience more violence and even corruption. Bribes might be asked of you more likely than of other people. So it works both ways. If you're poor, you're facing more issues that are covered in Goal 16, and if you're already facing those issues, you're more likely to be poor. So the relationship between poverty and peace, justice, and inclusion, they're almost a vicious cycle. For Goal 16 and also for Goal 1 on poverty, I would say that vested interests are a key obstacle because poverty, as well as injustice or exclusion, are no accidents, right? They don't just happen. They're not a natural law. It's usually a choice. There's usually someone who benefits from that. And I'm not only thinking of governments or so on, but let's just think about us. If we buy very cheap jeans, there's likely someone in a country working in slave-like conditions and not able to sue their employer if they don't get their salary or if they get an awful salary. So there's an interest on the other end, usually. And the question is, what do we do about it? And I think overall, we need to make it easier to do the right thing and more difficult to do the wrong thing. And again, there are many ways of doing that, but one way we can do that, and that's something that actually we at UNDP work on a lot, is to make things more public. And the SDGs provide a very good vehicle for that, because they come with a very comprehensive, or much stronger than before at least, monitoring system. So one of the pilot projects we have is about supporting countries in monitoring how they implement SDG 16. And one element of that is to develop scorecards together with civil society and other actors in society. What that means, the government, together with these other actors, come up with checklists, basically, what they're supposed to be doing, who's supposed to be doing that, by when, and how. And it's been very interesting to see what that triggers, what that leverages. These scorecards are really working because no ministry that is listed in these scorecards in his country wants to get a red color. So it's public, right? It's online. People can see who's doing well, who's not doing well. So that creates transparency, accountability, and it creates pressure. Universities and researchers in general can help show the effects of certain phenomena and how certain things work. Another way how researchers can help understand and make the SDGs work is to show the effect of monitoring itself. So, for example, a few years ago, there was a very interesting research project which was called the Power of Numbers. And those researchers checked how the selection of certain indicators on the MDGs drive policy. So how did the selection of certain indicators cause change in the policies that were adopted? And that's an interesting question because what they found was that the fact that certain indicators were selected meant that certain policies were adopted. So it was very interesting, for example, in the area of public health, how these researchers found that a lot of effort effort went into estimating maternal deaths because that was the MDG indicator. But the effort went less into making health systems more accessible to people, for example. It just became better and better at estimating maternal deaths, which is not exactly what's going to help people. So questioning the monitoring process itself, that's what researchers can do. And then lastly, there's one aspect that's coming up quite strongly now. Researchers can help understand how the process of monitoring can be as important